Hi there, and welcome to the first episode of Where RV. This video blog is going to be an effort by my wife and I to tour the country and look at all of the places that we have considered retiring to, but looking at them firsthand and actually experiencing them so we know before we make that final decision where some of the best choices actually are. We're going to try and give you some ideas about those different environments in this page. So I hope each and every one of you watching this will subscribe. If you like the shows, please click on the like button so that we know we're headed in the right direction. And if you have any tips that you want to offer along the way, please put them down below in the comments section. As I go along, when I use new equipment or I reference a resource that I think you might find valuable, I'll make sure and list those down in the description for this video, so check those out. So, without any further ado, let's get started on the first episode. The first thing that I need to do is make sure that I understand how to use the equipment that I've got. So join me as I take my first excursion around our neighborhood to test both a GoPro 6 and a Mavic Pro drone. All right, let's go explore nature. I'm using a GoPro 6 that I just got. It's on a selfie stick to give you not only a perspective, obviously, of me walking around, but also the environment so that I can test the view as we explore the different parts of the country to give you a perspective that you might not normally get a chance to see. All right, we are in Folsom, California, and this is our first test of the GoPro 6. I've got it on a extendable selfie stick to try and give you less of me and much more of the surrounding community because it's much more cinematic. As you can see, Folsom has quite a bit of character. This pathway that I'm on is quite extensive and ultimately follows the American River all the way down to Sacramento proper, which gives people more than 30 miles of trails that they can walk or ride bikes on. So it's a tremendous nature-centric environment. One part that we are walking through right now is a nature preserve. It's called Vernal Ponds because, as you'll see when we get up on top, the weather in Folsom, in Sacramento, that area of Northern California, tends to be very dry except for 4 months of the year, from November, December, January, and February, where we get the majority of our rain. That tends to create ponds and lakes where just dry beds ended up by October. To shoot this environment, I have a GoPro 6. I'm using most of the default settings so that I have an idea of what that looks like to start with. A lot of this is trial and error, but if you want to create a video blog also, it seems to me this is a pretty good tool because it's lightweight and shoots amazing video. All right, What we are in right now are the vernal pools that I just talked about. And if I scan over here behind me, you'll see an example of the remnants of 6 months of dry weather that we tend to get in California. However, if you look up at the sky, you'll see something that we don't see during those 6 months, and that's clouds. In the meantime, this gives me an idea of how this camera does shooting back into the sun over my shoulder versus shining on my background, to give me an idea of different shots as we approach the end of the day. In just a moment, I'll actually switch to a drone view of this same area and fly it over the Folsom community out towards Folsom Lake, so that you can see the beauty my family has had the opportunity to live in for the last 20 years or so. P.S. One thing I forgot to mention, GoPros are renowned for wind noise because of the positioning of their microphones. Most GoPro footage that you see is action oriented with a music bed. If you use the audio from a GoPro, it can tend to be very windy and kind of obnoxious. I actually am using a painter's mask, and I'll take a picture of it. It's not something you'd really want to be seen out in public with, but it doesn't muffle the sound like those socks do that people tend to put over their GoPros. And because of the shape of the mask, it actually funnels the sound into the microphone, so it sounds much richer than you normally get on a GoPro. So for those of you that shoot in windy environments, you might want to try it. It's a simple $1 solution to a really frustrating problem. One last shot from the ground of the Folsom vernal pools, and a really gorgeous sunset, even if I do say so myself. And in just a moment, I'll give you an opportunity to see the same thing from 200 feet.